Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad that you're joining us today. I think I have a fantastic topic that I want to be talking about. And I think that this may be one of those versions that you want to listen to several times, because what I'm going to be talking about is what is the one decision that you can make today that will eliminate or reduce other decisions. So let's get started. One of the things that we as lawyers, and I think entrepreneurs and business people and just people in general suffer from is decision fatigue. How many times have you gotten to the end of the day and you just didn't have the energy to muscle up? What are we going to do for dinner? How am I going to get these last tasks done? We all feel like we've got way too much to do. And in many ways we do. And part of the reason for that, I believe, is that we make so many independent decisions. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of things that we do during the day that we could decide in advance so that we don't have to come up with a new decision each and every time it comes up. So let me talk about a few examples here, because I think that this is really critical in being effective and being efficient and getting things done. So this really has to do with systems, routines, and habits, okay? And if you started each day with this question, what is the one thing that I could do today that would either eliminate or reduce the amount of decisions that I have to make? I think that you would start to be on the right track. So let me give you a few examples. My morning, I have a morning routine, and my morning is very similar virtually every single day. I get up, I drink a big glass of water because I know hydration is an issue for me. I meditate, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, depending on the kind of time that I have and what I want to accomplish. And then I sit down and I write in my journal for a little bit. I write in my gratitude journal at least 5 to 10 things that I'm grateful for, because that's just a great way to start your day, of thinking about all the things that you're grateful for. And then I look at my bank accounts, and I look at my bank accounts because one, I want to make sure that nothing funny is going on. Two, by being focused on where my money is and where it's going and what's going on with my investments, it has improved my financial situation in a dramatic way. And, we can talk about that in a couple minutes. But the bottom line is my morning routine is pretty much set in stone. I don't have to get up in the morning and go, well, what am I going to do today? This routine, which I have set up for myself, and I'm not saying that everybody needs to have the exact same routine, but what I am saying is the first 20, well, actually it's more like an hour for me, is already set up. I don't have to make a decision in the morning. I don't have to think about what am I going to do this morning. I already know, because this is my routine. Now, why is that valuable? Well, because in the morning I get things done that are productive and uplifting and inspiring, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to make a decision. I don't have to use any of that brain power in making a decision. This is what I'm talking about. I made the decision to have this as my morning routine several years ago. And for the past several years, I have gotten up and not had to make a decision. All right, so how does this play out in other things that you're going to do in your life? Well, here's the thing. If you make a decision about how you are going to do things, then you do not have to spend the time and energy, because the brain actually uses more energy than any other organ in the body. It's interesting. Most people don't think about that because it's not like, I'm flexing muscles or I'm running or I'm biking or, it's not energy in the same way, but it takes a tremendous amount of energy to think. And so anytime that you can eliminate a decision because you have pre-made that decision, you've thought it through and you've pre-made that decision, you're in good shape. So let me give you a couple of examples. I've been a huge advocate of using the profit first method of managing your money. Mike Michalowicz wrote a book called Profit First. I believe that it came from, ultimately came from a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. But the idea is that you pay yourself, okay? I highly encourage everybody should read that book. And if you're a small business owner, absolutely required reading. Anyone that I'm mentoring or consulting with, the very first thing that I tell them to do is to read Profit First, because it does a couple things. One, it's a great way to organize your finances. But even more important, it gives you a process so you don't have to think about it. So when I go into my accounts every day, when I look at my bank accounts and I have income, I know how to divvy it up. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to give it any additional thought, because the decision has already been made that certain percentages of income are going to go into certain accounts, which allows me to monitor them and invest them, and more importantly, to pay myself for the hard work that I do. And I encourage any entrepreneur, business owner, lawyer, if you're a lawyer and you're running your own firm, you need to be paying yourself for that. And so profit first. The point of it for this conversation is that the decision is already made. I don't have to think about what am I going to do with the money. I don't have to be thinking about, oh, I got all this income. Now what am I going to do? I know that there's a certain slice of that that's going to go into an account for Uncle Sam, my tax account. We know Uncle Sam's going to put his hand out. So let's not ignore that. Let's do that. I don't have to struggle with that, because that is a predestined decision. All right, what's another thing? Well, I've already given you the example of the morning routine, right? I'm not indicating that everybody should have my morning routine. I think my morning routine works great for me, but you should have a morning routine that does not include, there's certain things, not only do you want to predetermine the things that you're going to do, but you really should predetermine the things that you're not going to do. So in my book, Legalese, The Ultimate Guide on How to Survive a Law Firm, or a law practice, one of the first things that I say, do not look at your email first thing in the morning. I'll repeat that. Do not look at your email first thing in the morning. You can do that later in the morning, but the minute that you do that, you are sucked into somebody else's routine. So don't read the news. Don't look at the stock market. Don't go on Facebook. Have your routine for you. Decide the things that you're going to do and decide the things that you are not going to do, and then stick to it. Now, I will say as a caveat that doesn't mean that it can never change. So for many years, I did the 5 a.m. Club. Robin Sharma wrote a book called The 5 a.m. Club, and it's an excellent book. I highly recommend it, and it's about morning routines. And his suggestion is that you exercise for 20 minutes first thing in the morning. And I did that for quite a while. But what I found is that it didn't really work as well for me. I really struggled with it. As much as I love to exercise and as much as I really enjoy that, it kind of took some of the enjoyment out of it for me, because I was feeling forced to do it. I really rather, I'm almost 62 years old. I need to warm up. First thing in the morning, get on the bike or going out, I was a bit creaky. I am much happier when I'm exercising in the afternoon, anything from noon on, when the body's kind of warmed up a little bit. So I did that for quite a while. I realized that it wasn't working great for me, so I changed it. And that's the point. You get to control that. I'm not saying that you set your routines and your systems in stone and never review them, but you don't have to review them every single day. Ask yourself, is this working for me? And if it's not, then let's rethink it. All right, let's talk about another thing, exercise programs, right? One of the challenges that people have with exercise is, especially when you're first starting, because it's always harder. It just is, until you get in the groove and you really get those endorphins working for you. Exercise is hard. I mean, I've been an athlete my entire adult life, almost 50 years at this point, because I started really young, and it still is a struggle. So again, this is one of those things. Make the decision. When are you going to exercise? And you can plan that. It may not be every single day the same, but you can plan it a week in advance. So I encourage people to, plan their weeks in advance. So today, being it's a Saturday morning, I sat down and I wrote out my plan for next week. What are the things that I need to accomplish? And I've got those down, and now I know where I can fit in the various exercise routines. So I've just joined a biking group, a mountain biking group here in Santa Fe, and they ride on Wednesday afternoons or Wednesday evenings at 5:30. So I plug that in. Now I know well in advance that that is going to happen. I can guard that period of time. I don't set any appointments for that period of time, and I'm good to go. So, this is kind of what I'm talking about is this decision was already made, and now I just need to plug it in. Find a time that's going to work for you. Now, there may not be one time fits all. For years, I used to work out at noon because it worked in my schedule. Now it doesn't work as well for that. So now I have to adjust things. The very same thing is true for any business that you have. You need to set up systems. If you're independent and working from home, for example, I think it's really, really critical that you set up the hours that you are going to work. So I'm going to be at my desk at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to work from 8 to 10:30. And then I'm going to take a break, and then, do whatever it is that you're going to do. And then I'm going to work again from 1 to 4 or 1 to 3 or whatever it is, but set that in stone. Make that decision up front so you don't have to grapple with it every single day. It's, you don't have to do that fight. Make the decision and then go forward. And especially if you're doing this sort of intentional work of planning your week in advance, you can start looking at the things that that you're going to have to do. And then you can adjust your week so that when you get up on Monday morning, you know exactly what your day is going to look like. You already have the critical, what Stephen Covey would call the big rocks plugged in, and then you can work around those things. And again, it saves you all of this effort of having to make decisions, these little tiny decisions, which are actually quite large decisions each and every day. So I encourage, this is really a kind of a fundamental step of what you need to do to really save your most valuable resources, which is your energy. Most people think it's time. Time is, the time runs by, but the challenge that most people have is not that they run out of time. The challenge that they have is that they run out of energy to do their best work. The clock will keep running, right? But, in order to do your best work, and I'm all about doing your best work, you need energy. You need the focus and the concentration to get that done. And that takes energy. And by saving your energy for those critical tasks that really matter, you're improving your performance. It's just like getting enough sleep. In my book, I talk, I think at least in 3 places and maybe more, and there's several of these posts that I've done about the importance of sleep, the secret weapon of sleep. You got to make sleep a priority. If you want to do your absolute best, if you want to perform at your highest level, you've got to be getting enough sleep. How do you get enough sleep? You prioritize it. You plug that in. I am going to bed at 10 o'clock every night. Okay. That's a pre-made decision. I'm not going to just, binge watch Netflix. And trust me, I'm a binge watcher, but I know when to turn it off. I know, okay, this is when I'm going to go to bed. I know that I'm going to read a little bit before I go to sleep because it helps me relax. It helps me get away from the screens. These are all decisions that are made beforehand. I talk about, one of the first things that I do in the morning. Matter of fact, usually the very first thing that I do in the morning is I drink a big glass of water. So that is a decision that's already been made. Well, how do I effectuate that? Before I go to bed, when I brush my teeth, I fill up a glass of water and I put it right next to my bed. Okay, this is called habit linking. So when I get up in the morning, that glass of water is staring me in the face. I don't need to think about it. I just grab it and drink it down. These are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. The same thing is for your business. How you answer the phone. I don't care what your business is, whether you're a law firm or a small entrepreneur or a large corporation. The phone should be answered exactly the same way every single time. And nobody should be making a decision about how to answer the phone. That should have already been decided and vetted and talked about so that everybody answers the phone exactly the same way. At Chastain Jones, the phone is answered by every single person exactly the same way. That is a decision that's already been made. So nobody has to struggle with it. Nobody has to think it through. How do we deal with a prospective new client? Well, we have an intake form and everybody is supposed to ask exactly the same questions. Now, there's always some give and take because the person who's calling doesn't know the script, right? But we are guiding that. We know the questions that we need to ask to determine, 1, can we help them? 2, are they in a jurisdiction that we can help them? Do they have a problem that we can deal with? And are they somebody that we need to set an appointment for? And, but these are all predetermined. And this is the point, is when you predetermine how you're going to do things, you'll 1, do them better because you'll be practicing at it. You keep doing the same thing over and over. And 2, you'll know if it's not working, then you can change it. And 3, maybe the most important thing is that you're saving all of that energy for the things that are more important that you need to do. So if you can predetermine things, when I was a ski patroller, we had a protocol. How do we deal with somebody, when we came up on the mountain and they were, lying in the snow and they were injured? We had a protocol. There was a way that you address them every single time, every single potential patient, whether it was a head injury, a broken leg, or something else. You did the same things. Now, you needed to be effective and efficient at doing those things and to determine, is this person, seriously hurt, or is it just a sprained knee? Is this an emergency? Do we need to get a life flight? Do we need to get an ambulance, or do we just need to get them down and put some ice on their knee? But how you determine that was predetermined. So when I showed up and when my fellow patrollers showed up at the scene, we didn't have to reinvent the wheel and figure out what to do. We all knew what to do because we practiced it over and over and over, and it was predetermined. And that's the key here, is predetermine what you need to do. You will save a tremendous amount of energy. As I said, the point of this is ask yourself every day, or maybe just once a week, This is a question that you can ask once a week. I don't ask it every day anymore because most of the things that I can preset, I already have. But I'm asking myself at least once a week when I'm doing my plan for the next week, what is the one thing that I can do today that would eliminate additional decisions or at least reduce them? And if you do that, you will find that you will save a tremendous amount of energy. You'll save lots of effort, and you'll be able to focus on the things that will actually move the ball forward for you and do your very best work. All right, that's 20 minutes. I hope you find this helpful. You know, this is kind of foundational. If you do this one thing, if you have this one mindset, your performance is going to improve. It has to improve. Okay, it certainly isn't going to hurt you, and it's definitely going to improve. So I talk about this a great deal in my book, Legalese: The Ultimate Guide on how to survive the law practice. It's available on Amazon, and I'm also available if you need help or want to talk more about these things. I have a variety of different plans. You can reach me at mikechastain.com or michaelchastain.com. Either one of those. I work pretty much exclusively with law firms, but I can work with other small entrepreneurs as well and help get them on the right path to profitability, because that's the key. I can't make any money unless you make good money. So, all right, everybody, I hope you have a great day. I hope you find this helpful. And just remember, be grateful for what you have and be willing to work for what you want. All right, take care.